how about this one, Father? This one was written by Anonymous. Anonymous sent this email. What is the Catholic Church's view on the Shroud of Turin? I recently took an archaeology course where my professor dismissed it as a hoax, but I want to know for sure.
Well, I appreciate your question, Anonymous. This is actually a topic very near and dear to my heart. I give a talk on the Shroud of Turin at parishes in my diocese. I have a replica of the Shroud of Turin. What's marvelous about the Shroud of Turin is all this talk about it being a hoax is unfounded. The only thing that is founded upon is the 1980s carbon dating, and there has been a ton of scientific evidence that has come out since the carbon dating of the 1980s that has been showing what could have been and what is probably the error that was in the 1980s carbon dating of the shroud that put it back in the 1200s, in the 1200s, 1300s. There are certain studies of the linen of the shroud, for instance, that say it couldn't possibly be any newer than 1300 years ago, which already puts it several hundred years before the carbon dating put it. So I would say if you look at shroud.com, I think is what it's called, shroud.org, I don't remember. It's the Shroud of Turin Research Project website, official website. And there's all sorts of really interesting stuff. Actually, one particularly interesting thing is there's a guy in England who basically called the bluff of this whole hoax thing and said, okay, if it's a hoax, if it's a piece of art that was made by somebody, it can be reduplicated. We can make copies of Van Gogh paintings. We can make copies that are convincing enough that only someone who is a very careful art critic can tell the difference. So they basically said $1 million on the line. If you want $1 million, all you got to do is petition for us to give you 3 pieces of linen. We'll give you 3 pieces of linen the size of the shroud. And if you can use medieval techniques and things that were available in the medieval ages, and you can make another one that is convincingly alike, you can have $1 million. And there's the no takers. I think it's genius. So you might tell your professor, well, if it's a hoax, then maybe you can tell me how it was made.
This is a common academia L, just we get questions like this. I think it's better for you to turn it around on them, like you said, Father, and say, prove to me that it's fake. Because, in passing, people will just say whatever in passing, especially those in academia, unfortunately. But thank you for sending in that question, Anonymous. Archaeology, really awesome career. Maybe you'll discover something interesting.